Hello everyone and welcome. In today's video, I'm going to show you step by step how to build a sales funnel website. Now, this type of website is ideal for anyone that sells anything, be it online or even offline. So I have a diagram here where we're going to have sort of like a bird's eye view of what we'll be designing. And then I'll be going through step by step with no steps missed and show you how to create this type of websites. Now, before we begin, let's talk about the tools or the things that you need to have in place in order for you to achieve this. So first of all, you're going to need hosting. If you don't already have hosting, the two companies that I recommend are Flywheel and also SiteGround. Now, the differences between these two are with SiteGround, it's cheap, but at the same time, it has high quality hosting and the support is very, very good. However, you have to be a bit technical survey because you need to be able to apply some plugins to make your website faster, because out of the box, it's not really fast. And there's also other things that you may also want to do, like things like security, making sure that your website is secure. Now, when we take a look at Flywheel, this is a managed hosting environment whereby your security is all taken care of, and also the speed of your website is also really good. And they also have a fantastic dashboard where you can back up and restore your websites nice and easily. There's a massive price difference. With managed hosting, it's a bit more expensive. That's with Flywheel, and the cheaper one, of course, it's nice and cheap. But like I said, you have to have a few things or a few plugins, or you have to know your way around in order for you to optimize your website. Now, I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Mac. I create web design and marketing videos. So if that's your thing, don't forget to hit the subscribe and the bell notification. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the funnel software, and what we're going to be using is CartFlows. This is hands down the best funnel building software that I've seen out there. And we're also going to need an email autoresponder. This is very good because we need to be able to capture our leads and send them emails or even automated emails. And I'll be showing you how to put all this together. Now, if you buy any of these services, I have some affiliate links in the description below. So if you buy any of these services, I have some fantastic bonuses for you. So if you buy the hosting either through Flywheel or SiteGround, I will give you these bonuses worth $691. Or if you buy Divi as well, I'll give you access to these bonuses. And finally, the funnel software, which is CartFlows, you will have access to these bonuses. Now, if you want to get access to these bonuses and you've bought any of these services, all you have to do is to send me an email to mak@maketa.co.uk and just send me a receipt, and then I will give you access to my courses. Right, I'll also leave the email in the video description below. Now, let's take a look at this diagram and have an idea of how this website is going to look like. All right, so let's start over here with the landing page. So over here, the most important thing is to make sure you're giving away something for free, or it could be a discount, it could be an ebook that you're giving away for free, or maybe even free training. The idea with this is to generate leads, okay? You want to capture that email in order for you to follow up at a later stage. So this is our main landing page. So I'm going to connect this with ConvertKit. So as soon as someone enters their name and email address, they are automatically added to your autoresponder software, which is down here. And this is where you'd get your instructions on how to download the PDF or how to download or even the discount code. Over here, let's say someone enters their name and email address and they click on Get Free Book. They're going to be redirected onto this page here. So on this page, we are going to give them a one-time offer, which we're going to create. And this is a one-to-one video call, maybe with some dieting advice. And this is going to have a discount on it. And this is a one-time offer. Now, what we're going to do here is, if they get the offer, they then are taken to this thank you page, which then gives them extra information if need be. Now, let's say they click on no thanks. They don't want the offer. We are going to lead them to a downsell for a cheaper one-time offer. So this is a one-time offer, which is cheaper than the top one here. And if they get this offer, they are taken to this page. And if they also say no thanks, they are still taken to this thank you page. And then the email follow-ups, will follow after that process. So this is an ideal website, as I mentioned in the beginning. It's very, very good for anyone that sells anything online. It's highly, highly profitable. It's really, really powerful as compared to our standard websites that we're normally used to. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to start by installing WordPress on our favorite hosting company. So what I'm going to do here is to start off, in fact, I will keep this tab open so we can go back and forth and show you, what steps we're going through. So what we're going to do here is we're going to start with Flywheel. So I'm going to come over here. So this is Flywheel, the managed hosting service. They have very, very good services. As I mentioned before, they have a simple dashboard, speedy site development. And in fact, you'll see as I'm going through this, how I'll be able to create my website. So I won't go through, all these features. Okay, so the first thing you want to do here is up front, you don't even have to pay anything. You build your website, and then after 2 weeks, if you want to pay for it, you can then go ahead and pay for it. But if not, they will delete the website after 14 days. Okay, so what you want to do is to come over here, click on spin a site, enter your first name and email address, and then you might as well enter your username. So I'm going to enter my username here. So my email address, the email address I'm going to use here is a different one because my main email address is already registered on this service. Right, so this is where I would like to, I would best describe myself as and then you can just come over here. If you're a freelancer, you can just click on freelancer, and then you want to, how did you hear about Flywheel? I'm just going to say, saw an ad, and then we're going to enter our password here, re-enter it. Okay, great. So now I'm going to click on sign up. Right, so this is just the welcome. I'm just going to close that. And this is our beautiful dashboard. So all you have to do now is to come over here where it says create a website, and then I'm going to click here, and then it has these different plans. So what I'm going to go with here is I am going to create a demo site. But if you want to go ahead and choose your hosting plan, you can just come over here and click on choose plan. Okay, so I'm going to click here on create demo site. We're going to give this name site a name. So let's call this funnels. Hopefully that name will be there because you're going to get a temporary domain here. And then you can choose your data centers based on where you are. So I'm in the United Kingdom. I'm going to go ahead and select that. And then here, my username. I'm going to use this as Mac admin. And then I'm going to enter my WordPress password. Now it's important that you remember this password because if you forget it, it's just a pain trying to recover that password. Okay, so now I can go ahead now and create my website. So I'm going to click here on create demo site. Okay, so it looks like I have to first verify my email. So I'm going to go and check my emails. So I've gone to my email address and I've clicked on the link to verify that I am who I say I am. So the final stage here is to verify my account. So I can either do this using my phone to get a text message, or I can do this via credit card. So I'm just going to go with phone. All right, so I'm going to add my number in here. So it's +44 because I'm in the United Kingdom. Then I'm going to enter my mobile number. And this is where I need to enter my 6-digit code. Okay, so that's my code. I'm going to verify. And now I can go ahead and build my website. So I'm going to come over here and create a demo site. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to give the site a name. So let's call this funnels. Right, I'm just going to call this funnels to income, just in case funnels is already taken. Okay, so my data center, I'm just going to click here on United Kingdom, and then I'm going to choose my username. It's Mac, and I want to enter my password. Okay, great. So now I can go ahead and create my demo site. So this will take a while to set up my demo site, but the most important thing is you have about 2 weeks to play around with this website and see if you like the service. And if you do like it, you can just go ahead and start paying. So you don't have to commit to making a payment right from the get-go. All right, so I've just received my email that the website is ready. So all I have to do now is to come over here to my dashboard and click on this link. So if I click here, and this is the 14 days I was telling you about, where you can work on this website for 14 days. And once you're happy, you can just come over here and complete the billing. And you can also do this, let's say, in a situation where you want to build websites for your clients and you want them to take on their hosting. So this is ideal for that situation. So Flywheel is actually built with freelancers in mind. Okay, so I'm going to come over here now and click on this link. Now, before you click on that link, this is the username and password that you need to use to log into your website. Okay, so I'm just going to open this in my new tab like that, and it's going to ask for this username and password. So this is where we're going to come over here to this privacy mode. I'm going to copy that, paste it over here, come back over here, and I'm going to copy that again and paste it. So now this will give us access to our main WordPress website. So I'm just going to save this for now. Great. So remember that username and password that we created earlier on. This is what we need to enter our WordPress admin dashboard. So as you can see, this is the default WordPress theme that comes with WordPress 5.0, but we want to install Divi. So I'm going to come over here, add wp-admin, and add my username and password. Okay, so this should allow me to log in. And now we're in. So the next stage now is to install all the plugins that we're going to need and also install Divi. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm just going to save this for now and get this out of the way and just rearrange this, just make this look a bit neater. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do here is to come over here to Appearance, click on Themes. Now, I've gone ahead and downloaded the themes already ahead of time just to make sure that this video doesn't take too long. So I'm just going to click here on Add New, Upload Theme, choose File, and then my file here is in this folder, and this is the Divi theme. I'm going to double click on that, click Install. Now, what's important with Divi is to go ahead and add your API key, because this is how you get automated updates, and you can also use their pre-made layouts. So we're going to activate this now. So I'm going to click on Activate. So now I'm going to go to Theme Options, click on Updates, and this is where we need to add our API key. So I'm going to put my username, and then I'm going to come over here to my members area in Elegant Themes, click on Account, and I am going to add my API key. I'll just copy it, come back over here and paste it. So we're all good. We've added our API key. So that means that every time we get some updates from Elegant Themes, our website is going to be updated. And also, if you want to use the pre-made layouts, you'll have access to those. Right. So the next stage now is to install CartFlows. So I'm going to come over here to Plugins, click on Add New. I'm going to search for CartFlows, click on Install. Now, for this to work, actually, you need CartFlows Pro. So this is the first one that you need to install, and then I'm going to show you how to install CartFlows Pro. So now that we've installed CartFlows, you can see here that in order for this to work, it's going to need WooCommerce. So I'm going to click on Install WooCommerce. And again, this plugin is free. Click on Activate Plugin. Okay, so this is giving us this setup window. I'm going to add the address here. So this is where you decide whether you're going to do physical products or digital products. So in our case, I'm going to set it to digital, but if you do both, you can just go ahead and choose both. I'm going to uncheck that. Right. Okay. So now I'm going to click on Let's Go. So now we are at the payment stage. This is where you want to add your Stripe and PayPal details. And now to set up these accounts is quite straightforward. You can just go ahead, set up a Stripe account and PayPal account. Now these two are very important when it comes to taking payments. So this is where you want to first have this in place in order for you to come in here and edit. So I'm going to click on Continue here. So now it's going to recommend a few items here. So I'm just going to uncheck all these because I don't really need that. Click on Continue. So Jetpack, I'm going to click on skip this step. I don't really need Jetpack. And pretty much that's all we need to add. I'm just going to come over here to the top and go back to my website. Click on Dashboard. Okay, so now we can see we have a bunch of items coming up now. So I'm just going to close this just to keep this nice and neat. So the next stage now is to install CartFlows Pro. So I'm going to come over here to my plugins and then click on add new. Now for CartFlows, you actually need to go to their website and purchase it. But as I mentioned, I have some affiliate links, which if you use, you'll get some amazing bonuses. So I've already gone ahead and logged into my CartFlows account. So I'm going to click here on API keys because I'm going to need an API key for this to work. So I'm going to copy it here, come back to my plugins, and then I'm going to click on upload plugin because I've already gone ahead and downloaded the plugin from CartFlows website. I'm going to click on choose plugin, double click on CartFlows, click install, activate plugin. Now I need to come over here. You can see it says activate license. I'm going to click here on activate. First of all, I'm going to paste my license key, and then I'm going to add my email address. Click on activate. Great. So now I have everything that I need in place. So we have all the plugins, we have the theme. So pretty much we're almost there. The next stage now is to go and set up our autoresponder. So let's go ahead and do that. So the service I'm going to use is called ConvertKit, but you can use services like MailChimp and so on. But I find this one very, very easy to use. It's got great features. And again, the link to purchase this or to sign up to this email autoresponder is going to be in the comments box below. All right, so let's go ahead now and create a form. So I'm going to come over here to forms, and I'm just going to call this dieting list. Come over here to form. So this can be inline, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to choose this one here. Right, so I won't be using this actual form here. I'll show you how I'm going to be creating it. So what we want to do next is to come over here to our settings. In fact, the settings here. Right, so this is where we add the download URL. So in our case, we're going to give away a free PDF. So what you want to do is to upload the PDF onto your website, and then this is where you want to add the link to the PDF. Okay, so once you've done that, and then over here, we're going to give this a list name. So let's call this dieting tips or dieting list. Okay, this is so that we know what list it is when we start getting all our leads. So I'm going to save. So now, right. So let's go back to our diagram here. So the next stage now is to create this landing page. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to come over here. So first of all, in fact, before we create the landing page, we might as well create the products that we need for the upsells and the downsells. So I'm going to come over here to products, click on add new. So let's add our first product. So this one here is going to be one-to-one consultation. Let's come over here to the pricing. So we're going to charge this at about, let's say $199. But for the upsell, we're going to give a discount to that. So that is how we're going to make it more enticing for anyone to take on that package. Okay, so I've added my pricing here. That's pretty much all I need to do. Let's publish it. We may need to come back and revisit this page, but for now, I'm just adding all the products. So let's add another one. So this one here is going to be the dieting plan. Okay, and this one here is going to be $49. In fact, I'm in the UK, so it's going to be pounds. Right, so click on publish. So you don't have to add any descriptions here. All you need is just the pricing. So now that we have our products, let's just go ahead and click on all products and just make sure we have it all in place. So we have one-to-one consultation and the dieting plan. This one here is $199 and the dieting plan is $49. Okay, so that's looking great. Now let's go ahead and add or set up CartFlows. So I'm going to come over here first, click on settings. So this is where we need to make sure we choose the page builder that we need. So I'm going to click on this drop down and choose Divi. Save changes. Okay, now let's go to WooCommerce and click on settings. Now it's important here that we go to the advanced tab. No, in fact, we need to go to accounts and privacy. Right, so this is where you want that when someone signs up or they buy a product on your website, you want them to create a login during the checkout. Okay, and you may also want to allow customers to create an account during checkout, and pretty much that's all you need to do. And save changes. Great. So now let's create all our pages. So I'm going to come over here to Flows, click on Add New. So this is where we get to add the stages that we need for the upsells, the downsells, the landing pages, and so on. All right. So what I'm going to start by doing here is to create our page, and the page is going to have a checkout. So let's see which template we can go with, but it doesn't really matter which template we go with. All we need to do is to just make sure we choose one which has all the levels. So I'm going to go with, let's go with this herbal skin cream. So it's importing all the steps. Okay, great. Right, so let's give this a name. So we're going to call this dieting. Click on update. Great. So now that we have this, we have the landing page here. We also have the checkout page, the upsell, the downsell, and the thank you page. And this is pretty much similar to what we have here. We have the landing page, the upsell, the downsell, and the thank you page. Okay, so this is how we start building our funnel. Okay, so I'm going to start here with the landing page. So I'm going to click here on view. Need to take a quick look at it. Okay, so this is the landing page. Looks really nice. And then we have the order now button here on the top. But we are going to rearrange this and make it look like it's our own design. So let's enable the visual builder and let's start building all our content on this landing page. All right, so I'm going to enable the visual builder here. So I'm going to keep my landing page nice and simple. So I'm just going to go ahead and start building. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start by going into my background here and add my own image. So I'm going to click here on background, and I can see here this comes with this background. So I'm going to delete that and add my own. So I'm going to click here on add background, select files. So my files, the files I'm going to use are going to be from my computer. So I'm going to click here on open. So all my images now are going to be uploaded onto my media library. Right, so I'm going to go with my first image here. So click upload an image. So that's the main image that's going to go in the background of my website. So let's go ahead now and customize this, because this information that we have here is not pretty much necessary for what we need. So I'm just going to save this for now, and then I'm going to delete this and make this a single column by coming over here to this column structure. But if you want to make things easier for yourself, you can always delete this and build this from scratch, by yourself. So in fact, let's do that. So I'm just going to delete this. So now I'm going to add my own rows. So I'm going to click here on this plus button, single row. And in that row, I'm going to add a text module. And then I'm going to add my copy in here. So I'm just going to say, discover the best way to lose weight without fasting. Okay, that's just something that I just came up with. Okay, so we need to center this. So we're going to come over here to design, text, and then we're going to come over here, text orientation. We're going to center that. Now we need to make this text nice and big. So I'm going to just make it nice and big like that and give it a color. Right, so the color we're going to use now is, I'll just put that orange for now. So what we need to do now is to go back to our section settings here, click on background, and then I'm going to add an overlay here. So I'm going to click here on this gradient, click this plus button, and add my first color, add my second color. So my second color as well is going to be black. Okay, so now that I have that, I'm just going to scroll down here and place gradient above image. I'm going to go ahead and do that. So as you can see here, it just goes pretty much really dark. So now this is where we can go in and add a bit of transparency to show what is behind here, like that. So come over here to my first color, do the same. So you can play around with these until you're happy with how it looks. So it's a matter of just going in, adjusting these colors until you're pleased with how it looks. Okay, so I think that's okay. The reason why I've done that is because it makes it easier for us to read what is on this section. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to my text, and I'm going to, in fact, you know what? I need to find out what font we're using here so that we are on brand. So I'm going to come over here to my design tab, click on H2, and my font here is called Domain. Okay, so now that I know my font, I can just go in now and start designing. So I'm going to click here on my settings, design, and choose my font in here. Okay, great. So I may even just make this white, to be honest, or maybe just play around with some colors that may work. Let's see. In fact, I pretty much like that one. Okay, great. So I'm going to save that color there, and then I'm going to drag my button and just add it on the bottom here. So this logo here, I don't need that, so I'm just going to delete it. Top row, I don't need it as well, so I've just deleted that. So what I'm going to do next now in my section here, I'm just going to add a bit more breathing space here. So I'm going to set it to 100, both to the top and the bottom. So now we need to add our opt-in form. So I'm going to click on this plus button here and just search for email opt-in. So at first it comes in crazy like this, but we need to remove this background color and all this text. So let's start by removing this heading and this text here, just like that. And then we're going to come over here to our background, make it full transparency. So now, as you can see, we've got rid of the background. Next, we're going to come over here to design, layout. So this is where we get to choose how our form is going to look like. So I want to say here body, yes, body on top, form on bottom. Okay, and then next we can now disable the fields that we don't need. So we have first name, last name, and then email. So all we need here is just the first name. Okay, let's go back to our content here. Click on fields. So this is where you can disable them. So I'm going to disable last name. So all we have now is the first name, email, and the button. So what we could do now is we can go in and customize this form and make it look the way we want. So what I'm going to do now is to come over here to design. So these are the form fields that we can play around with. So we have the form background color. So we can add transparency just like that. We may also want to add a bit of color to that, to be honest, because it's too dark. Okay, we're going to try this dark color with transparency. Now let's have a border. So I'm going to scroll down here and let's add 2 pixels or maybe even 1 pixel to our border and give it a border color, just like that. Okay, so that's great. Now for the first and last name. So this is the information here within the within this area. So we can also go in and change the focus color. So I'm going to click here on white. In fact, I'm just going to click here. Okay, so our focus text color is going to be white. So let's see what else we need to do. So this button here needs to be changed. So I'm going to click here on this little brush tool. So that's going to take us to our button, custom styles, and then let's add a color to our button. So I'm going to start by adding a button background color. And now that we've added that color, we need to change the font color because we can't read because the colors are the same. So we're going to come over here and choose the button text color, make it white. Let's remove the border. So now for the font here, we're just going to stay on brand, make it all caps, and maybe make it slightly bigger as well. So we're going to come over here to the font text size and increase it to about, let's say 24. Okay, so I think that's looking good. Right, so now I'm going to go back to my content here. So here on this success action, this is very, very important because this is where we need to add a redirect URL. So I'm going to click here on redirect, come back over here, and we want the next step we need to go to is this checkout page. So I'm just going to open this in a new tab and click on view. Right, so this is the page we need to redirect to. I'm going to copy it, come back over here. Oh, in fact, I'd missed it. Okay, over here, add my redirect. Okay, that's great. So next, I'm going to come over here to my email account. So this is where now we are going to line up our opt-in with ConvertKit. So that's when, in fact, let me come over here to our diagram. So when they enter their name and email address, they're going to be redirected to this page. And we're going to now connect this opt-in with ConvertKit so that they're also added to the list here in ConvertKit. So that's what we need to do now. Okay, so Back over here, I'm going to click here on ConvertKit. So I'm going to click on add. So this is where now we want to add our API key and API secret. So this can be found by coming over here to your ConvertKit account settings, API key, and the secret. I'll just call this dieting. Click on submit. So once submitted, what's going to happen now is this form is going to pull the data now from ConvertKit, and every time someone signs up, they're going to be pushed over to ConvertKit and vice versa. So this is why it's important to make sure that these two keys are added in so that the two systems are talking together. Okay, so now that we've added this, I can click now here on this drop down, and we can see here this is the dieting list. Okay, so this is the dieting list, and now it's showing under ConvertKit. So I'm just going to click here on submit. So now when someone comes in, they'll enter their name, email address is going to be added onto the list, and then it's also going to redirect by, in fact, let's come over here. So this is the redirection. After they click on subscribe, they're going to be redirected onto our landing page. So we don't need, in fact, let's leave ConvertKit up there so that we can do our test. So I'm just going to save this for now. Get rid of this button because we don't need this anymore. And then we are just going to drag this up a little bit so it's closer to the text, and then we're going to go back into our settings here because as you can see this form is just a bit too big. So we can click here on design, sizing, and we can adjust the width of the form just by dragging the slider. So I think 80% is good. I'm going to center it. So this is going to be our landing page, and then I'm going to save. Oh, in fact, I need to add a bit more copy here. Download the free PDF. Okay, so download the free PDF below. So if I need to go in and maybe highlight some of this text here, I can just go in and highlight download free PDF, make it italicized maybe, and even bold. Okay, so just to emphasize that it's a free PDF. In fact, you know what? What clients say, I think that's important. So let's get rid of this. So all we're going to have here, frequently asked questions. Let's get rid of this. Okay, so that's looking great. So we have download the PDF, and then over here we have the what clients say. We also have FAQs. All right, so that's looking great. I'm going to save this. So now let's go back and take a look at this landing page and see what happens when we click. Okay, so now when I click in here, you can see now the text is white. So I could say maybe Jack, email address. Okay, so it's looking good now. So it's not time to test it yet, and we're still in test mode. So let's move on to the next step. So what we're going to do now is to work on the checkout page. So over here, what we're going to do, as you can see, it says no product assigned. So let's go in and assign our product. So I'm going to click here on edit. So what we're going to do is we're going to come all the way down here to the bottom because this is where we have the information. So I'm just going to drag this to the top because I prefer if this was at the top here and then the builder on the bottom. All right, so let's start by adding our product. So remember, we've created all our products here in WooCommerce. So I'm going to click here, and the first product is going to be the one-to-one consultation update. So we don't need any order bumps for that. And then for the checkout design, we're going to have a single column. In fact, I'm going to leave everything as it is. And then we're going to go in and customize it if it needs be. Now, let's go back to CartFlows and set our downsell product. Click here on dieting. Okay, so I'm going to come over here to upsell. So I'm going to click here on edit. So let's add our product here. So this one here is going to be the dieting plan. And it says here the discount type. So let's go in and add a percentage. And this is going to be a 50% discount for our upsell. I'm going to click on update. So I'm going to open this in a new tab so we can just take a quick look at what it looks like. Okay, so here's our page. So you can see here, add a natural pack to your order for only $99, save $50. Okay, so what we need to do now is to go in and change the background and change the messaging as we need to. Okay, right. So the next stage now is to work on the downsell. So I've just noticed here that we only created 2 products. So let's go back and create our products one more time, one more product, which is a downsell product. So I'm going to go to add new and let's call this downsell. Right, so this product could be, anything. So let's say maybe it's a one-time price for maybe a book or some sort. And let's say this book is $19 or £19. I'm going to click here on publish. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to CartFlows, and then we're going to go to our downsell. So now I'm going to assign a product to that, and we called it downsell, remember? I'm going to select it, and we're going to give this a 50% discount as well. Okay, so let me check here and see how this looks. Okay, so again, we have the copy here, so we can always go in and change all that information. So now that we have all the steps that we need, let me just close all these tabs because we have too many tabs open now. Right, so over here now, we need to come in here and add some copy because this is our checkout page. So I'm going to click here on Enable Visual Builder. Right, so these rows, they are a bit too thin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click here and make it slightly bigger. So I'm going to come to sizing and increase the width here to about, let's say 1080. All right, so we say 1020 here or 1080. Save that. Okay, so now let's stylize our page. So let's come in here. We're going to change the size. So we're going to come over here to design, sizing, and set this to 1080. That's looking much better now. So I'm going to save this. Now, what I'm going to do next is to click here. In fact, I'm going to drag this because this is where we're going to get our form, our checkout form. So we want this to be in the second column here. So I'm going to come over here and drag it to this area here. Now, the beauty of this form is we can actually go in and customize it and make it look the way we want. So let's start by adding a background image here. So I'm going to click on background. So click on the third tab. And then we're just going to use. Okay, so we have our image now. That's looking great. But we are going to add a color to this because it's a bit too dark. I mean, it's a bit too bright, so we can't read the text behind it. Okay, so now we're going to click here on the image and click on the blending mode. So here we're going to say multiply. So now you can see it's all dimmed. Right, so we can always adjust. In fact, we don't need to click on that. Back on this color here, we can adjust how much transparency we need. So if you drag it down here, there's more transparency, but I'm just going to come and leave it right about there. All right, so now it's time to add in our copy. So I'm going to save this, and then I'm just going to delete this image because we don't need it. And this is where we're going to have our form. Okay, so now I'm just going to say one-time offer. So this is going to be one-to-one consultation. You can always go in and add as much content as you want over here, but I'm just going to keep things, nice and simple here. So I'm going to click here on the header, make sure it's easier to read, text nice and big. We might as well make it bold here. Okay. In fact, you know what may be better if we have this in its own module. So I'm going to click here on this plus button, text module, and then I'm going to paste it in here. Okay. So now we can go in and customize this text on its own. So I'm going to click here on design, text. Okay. Add my color, increase my text size. I'm also going to change my font here and add some line height to make it much easier to read. So I think that's looking great. I may want to add some transparency to that because it's a bit too much. Okay, that's looking much better. All right, so I'm going to save this. And we don't need this, so I'm going to get rid of that. So one-time offer. So this is where you can also add your pricing. And this is where your checkout is going to be. So I'm going to delete this. So now we're going to be left with this 30-day money-back guarantee thing. And now I'm just going to add some margins to the top because this is way too close to the bottom. All right, so let's save this and have a quick look and see what this page looks like. Right, so I'm going to exit the Visual Builder. Right, so we have quite a lot of information here going on this checkout. So what we need to do is to go in and customize this checkout. Right, so I'm going to come back over here. In fact, I'm going to click on edit this step. Right, so for the checkout design, this is very, very flexible. We can actually come in here and do quite a lot. So what we're going to start by doing here is to click on checkout fields. So we don't need the coupon code. We don't need to enable the additional field. Right, so now we need to go into the custom field editor because the information that we're going to need here is just very, very minimal. Okay, so now I'm just going to get rid of company name, country, street address. So I don't need all these items here. All I need is the email address and first name. So I'm going to click on update. So I'm just going to have a quick look here and see if it's looking much better, because before we had so much stuff that we didn't need. Right. So as you can see, this is looking much, much better now. So we can still go in and make further customization. So I'm going to click here on edit. And then let's see if we can. Here we can choose to either have a two-step checkout or even just have 2 columns. So let's see what it looks like with the 2-step. I'm going to click on update, and then I'm just going to refresh this. Actually, I think this looks way much better. So here we've got the first name, last name, and then we got the payment information on the second tab. So here we want to make sure that everything is consistent. So I'm going to make this full width. Okay, so let me show you how to do that. So if I come over here to the fields, if I click here on this little drop down, I can make this go 100%. Update. So now let us refresh this page and see how this looks. Fantastic. So now we have the first name going all the way. We also have the email address. So that's looking great. Now I haven't set my payment information yet. So I would need to come over here and in fact, we need to go into our settings and set the PayPal or the Stripe. Okay, great. So over here now, we can also add even more information. So let's say we want to add the pricing. So we could just come back over here to enable Visual Builder. So let's add the price here so people know how much the discount is. Right, so the pricing here, let's say was $199. Add a strike through. Select that and just add a strike through like that. Come over here to design, text. Let's make it nice and big. Choose our font. And let's choose white for our color. Right, so now the new price, let's see if I can go in and add 99. Okay, so that works. Okay, so this is our new pricing. Save that. Okay, so that's looking great. So the next stage now is to just add a bit of padding to the top here, like that. So I like using 100. Okay, and we may also want to add some padding here, like that. So now we have a bit of space, which is great. Right, so I'm going to leave all these icons as they are and save. Okay, so now that we've created our page, let's exit the Visual Builder and have one quick look one more time. So now it's looking great. We can see here one-time offer. There's the description, the pricing now $99. Okay, so this is where they enter the name, email address, and then they can go ahead and take the special offer. Right, so let's just come back over here so we can go back to this diagram so we can see what is going on. So here we have the landing page, which is this one here. So what happens is if someone enters their name and email address and click on get free ebook, their detail is going to be sent to ConvertKit, where they're going to get the instructions of how to download that free PDF. And then over here, they're going to get taken or redirected to this page, which is a one-time offer, which then sells them on to the next product. If they don't take it, I mean, they just go to the thank you page. But if they say no thanks, they also have an upsell and also a downsell here, and that also leads them to the thank you page. All right, so let's go ahead and check this out. So I'm gonna come over here to this landing page. Now let's add our name and see if this is going to redirect. So I'm gonna add an email here that I don't normally use. Okay, so I'm gonna hit here on subscribe. In fact, this button here needed to be download PDF. Right, so I'm just gonna click here. So you can see now that the redirect has happened. So now I've entered my details here. Now I'm on this page here. So this is talking about the one-time offer, blah, 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 blah. So if I don't take this one-time offer. That's fine. In fact, you may also need to add maybe a message here to say, now check your email for more information, but we also have a one-time offer. Now, before I continue, there is something that I also need to show you quickly. So let's say you don't want to have a two-step checkout and you only need a one-step checkout, which is like one column. You can just change it here to one column, click on update. And then what you want to do is to go to the actual front page and make some changes to the background, because as you can see, if I refresh this page, you can actually see that the text here is quite dark and we can't read it. So what you may want to do is to enable the Visual Builder and then come over here to your columns. In fact, we've got two equal columns there. So now we're going to go into the column settings. Right, so here on the backgrounds, we can actually choose background 1 or background 2. So if I go to background 2 and add a color, let's add a bit of transparency there, just slightly, and then click on save. So I'm going to save the page and then I'm going to exit the Visual Builder. Right, so you'll notice that the background now will look much better because we have added a white background. As you can see now, this looks much better and it's easier to read. However, this is not well designed. So let's go ahead and add some padding to this form. So I'm going to click here on Enable Visual Builder, and then we're going to click on Module Settings, Design, Spacing. So this is where we just need to add padding. So I'm going to add, let's say 20 all around. Come over here, add 20 as well. The only thing here is we can't really see what's happening here because this is a shortcode that has been added in. So if I come here, you can see this is the actual shortcode. But this is it. To review this, you would need to save and then refresh the page. So one more thing I'm going to do here is to add a border. So I'm going to come over here to, in fact, I'll just leave it as it is. Let's save this. All right, so I'm going to refresh this. Exit the Visual Builder, save and exit. So now that I've added a bit of padding, we can see now that our page looks much, much better. Okay, and then all we have to do now over here is to maybe add an image to make this look much better. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to click here on Enable Visual Builder and we're going to add an image. So I'm going to search for my image module, select it, and then I'm going to choose my image from here, just like that. Save that. I'm going to save the page, exit Visual Builder. So now, as you can see, this is looking much better now. So this could also be replaced with a video. So if you want a video here, you can actually add a video and add this image as an image background to convince anyone that comes to your website to want to take you onto this offer. Okay, and also here I've added some payment details. So we have PayPal, so this can proceed to PayPal, and we also have Stripe. But right now, in order for Stripe to work, we need to make sure that we have SSL enabled. And for me to enable that, I would need to have an upgraded account here. So let me just show you. So if I come over here to my overview, and you can see here, enable SSL, I can just click on that. And this is free, by the way. So this is going to take a bit of time, but I can just click here on complete SSL. In fact, I need to enter all this information here, but this will take a bit of time for the SSL to be set. But you need to be aware that if you want to set up a Stripe, and that is taking card payments, you do need to enter your details. So now to finalize our design, let's make sure that we have everything in place. So what we want to do is to, when your visitor lands on this page, we need to have an option where if they click on no thanks, it takes them to the thank you page. So let's go ahead and do that. So first of all, we want to come over here and take a look at the thank you page. So I'm going to open this in a new tab. So this is our thank you page. We are going to come in and customize this. So I'm going to copy this link and then back over here on the checkout page, I'm going to click on Enable Visual Builder, and then just below the price, I am going to add the no thank you. Okay, so I'm going to click this plus button, add a text module. I'm going to select that, and then I'm just going to add my text that says no thank you, highlight it, set this to maybe heading 4, and then over here on design, I'm going to click here on heading 4, give this a color. In fact, let's change the font to our normal font that we've been using throughout this. We're going to make it, in fact, regular is fine, but we need to make it slightly bigger. So I'll say maybe 22. We need to align it to the center and change the color. Okay, so here on the color, instead of having it white, let's have it maybe, yeah, orange. Okay, so that's looking great. So back over here, let's have a link to that text. So the link URL here is going to link us to the thank you page, and open this in a new tab. Let's save that. And then I'm just going to drag this to the bottom or just below this pricing. And one thing we may also want to do is to just underline this, just to make sure that this is a link. Okay, there we go. Okay, so that's the underline. I'm going to save this page and exit the Visual Builder. All right, so now back over here to our diagram. So here we enter our email name and email address, they get added to our autoresponder, and then we get to this one-time offer here. And as you can see, there's a no thanks. So this will take us to our thank you page right away, or this can be directed to our downsell. Okay, so now I'm going to come back over here and let's do this part test and see how this works. So I've opened this in a new tab. I'm just going to copy this URL and go into incognito mode and test it there. All right, so my name, I'm just going to put Jack, and then I'm just going to add, let's go with Freedom, okay? And then I'm going to click on subscribe. This is going to redirect me. Okay, so now I'm on this page. We have this one-time offer. So I can go ahead and make my payment here by entering my name, my email address. I can create an account right away. And I can either use PayPal or Stripe. Okay, now the only issue that I have here is my Stripe is not activated because I have a live Stripe account. So I don't want to go in and put my Stripe account into testing mode because that may affect anyone that wants to buy stuff on my own website. So I'm just going to leave this as it is. Okay, so here, let's say the visitor decides that they don't want to take this offer. They can just click here on no thank you, and this will take them to the thank you page, which we can also go ahead and customize. All these links that we have, you can link them to pretty much any page that you want. So now when we take a look at our website, there's two things that we need to be aware of. So first of all, I'm going to come over here to Flows, and I need to make sure that I have my landing page first because I want to show you something very important. So if I click here on View, so this ideally is the page that we want to show when visitors come to our website. But at the moment, if we go to Visit Site, you'll notice that this is the landing page that we have. So ideally, we want to change this. So I'm going to come back over here to Dashboard, and then I'm going to click on Settings and Reading. So this is where we want to turn our website into a sales funnel website. So I'm going to click here on Static. And then on the home page, this is where we want to set this to the landing page. Click on Save Changes. So now when we go to our website, I'm going to click here on Visit Site. Instead of going to that page we saw initially, now it's coming on to this landing page. And the other thing that I want to show you as well, just to prove that this is working, when you enter your email address and name, let's go to ConvertKit. Okay, so this is the dieting form. I'm going to refresh this, and now we can see we have 2 subscribers. So these are the 2 emails that I added, and just to show you which ones they are, I'm just going to click here on the list, reports, 2 subscribers, and these are the 2 subscribers, and these are the 2 emails that I used. So now if I need to add some sequencing, I can always add some sequences and then, send emails as I want. I can send broadcasts. I can do quite a lot of stuff here now that I have all these subscribers on my mailing list. So you can rearrange these as you want. And let's say you notice that something is not working here on the downsell, or the upsell is not working. All you have to do is to just come over here and delete it. And also the good thing is we also have analytics. So you can come over here and see how many times your pages are being seen. So the upsell, the downsell, how many times are people seeing it? If you notice that it's not being seen a lot of times here, that means that it's not doing very well. So you might as well get rid of it. But pretty much this is how you create your sales funnel website.